All right, so now we continue our lesson 9.4. This is part 2. So as you work this problem out, this is the reflection of cross line B of the reflection of cross line A of J. So the question is, what is the center and angle of rotation for the resulting rotation? So this means the center is here at C, and now we got to find the angle of rotation here. So what we did is I set up my red lines here to show my perpendicular lines to help kind of draw my figures. And once again, this is tilting in towards the stem here, so it's going to be closer this way, and then you reflect it over this line. Not exactly perfect, but you can kind of see the picture idea. Now we know the distance here, so let's write down things we know. We know that angle 2 plus angle 3 is going to equal 45. And one thing we know that angle 1 should be congruent to angle 2. And we know that angle 3 should be congruent to angle 4. So therefore that means that we can use substitution, say angle 1 is congruent to angle 4. Excuse me. Angle 1 plus angle 4 should equal 45. So the total here, that means that if we add up all our angles, angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 plus angle 4 is equal to 45 plus 45, which is going to give us a 90-degree rotation. So it's a 90-degree clockwise rotation. All right, so in all these problems, just make sure you draw your lines, the perpendicular lines across the line of reflection, just to help draw these figures. So let's now go look at a glide reflection. A glide reflection is the composition of a translation, which is the glide, and a reflection across a line parallel to the direction of the translation. So if you look here at this paw print, now there's a slight difference here. You know, the little cutout is on the right side of this paw print. So the one we're going to start off with here is the black image. So the first thing we're going to do is it's going to slide, which is a translation, and then it's going to be reflected across this line, your line of reflection, to become this image. So that's called a glide reflection. So let's take a look at example 3. Finding a glide reflection. So what is a reflection across the line x equals 0 of the translation of 0, negative 5 of triangle TEX? So let's draw this image here. And we're going to start with our original image. And I'm going to draw it over here, which is going to be TEX. This is going to be where T is at a negative 5, positive 2. E is going to be at negative 1 and 3. And X is at negative 2 and 1. So as we plot these 3 points here, we have T, negative 5, positive 2, negative 1, positive 3, and then we have X is negative 2, 1. So we'll draw our lines here. All right, so now we're going to perform the first thing that we do. This is the first step, is going to be the translation, and then we're going to do the second thing will be the reflection. So the first thing we do is we're going to translate this 0 on the x and negative 5 on the y, which means we're going to slide this down. So everything's going to move down 5 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This becomes T prime. From here 3, it's going to be 1, 2, 3 to 0. And 2 more becomes down here at negative 2. That's our E prime. And then we have our X prime, which is going to be down here at 1, which means it's going to come down the same X. And it's going to come down to negative 4 for our X prime. So now, as we draw this figure here, we have this. There's our T prime, E prime, and X prime. So now we're going to reflect it across the line x equals 0. Well, x equals 0 is another name for the y-axis. So we're going to reflect it across the y-axis. So we're going to flip every image. So we start with T. T is 5 units away from the red line, or the y-axis. So we're going to make it 5 units to the right. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That is our T double prime. Then we're going to take the E, which is 1 unit away, so we'll move it 1 unit away over here, which is E double prime. And then we have X, which is 2 units away, so it's 2 units away right here. That would be X double prime. And then we draw our resulting figure here. We'll do it in red this time so we can kind of see it a little different. This is our, we started with here. So we drew it down. We slid down here, and then we reflected across the y-axis. And so if they ask you to name the points, then of course you name the points of T double prime, which is at a positive 5 and a negative 3. We'd have E double prime, which is going to be at a positive 1 and negative 2. And the last one would be our X double prime, which is going to be at a positive 2 and a negative 4. So this is a glide reflection. So now let's take our last example. Let's take the same figure here, but now we're going to do a reflection across the line y equals negative 2 of the reflection of the translation of 1, 0 of triangle TEX. So pause the video, perform the glide reflection, and then give me the results of the T double prime, E double prime, and X double prime. All right, let's see how you did. So we start off with our original image here. That's the one in blue, the TEX, and the green triangle. So we shifted everything 1 unit to the right. So we move over 1 unit. That puts us here at negative 4, 2, at negative 1, or excuse me, 0, 3, and at negative 1, 1. So now as we reflect it across the line y equals 2, which means it's a horizontal line that crosses the y-axis at 2, we reflect this red triangle now, become our black triangle, which is going to be here at T, which is at negative 4, negative 6. E is going to be at 0, negative 7, and X double prime is going to be at negative 1, negative 5. And so this is a glide reflection. We slid it once and then we reflected it. All right, so this concludes our lesson of 9.4 on composition of isometries.